One of the biggest changes that has to happen when you make the switch to new construction builder or land developer, if you've been a fix and flipper for very long, is how you underwrite your deals and how you evaluate the properties. So when we were rehabbers, the deals would come through your email, you'd get a text message, the wholesaler says, meet me on site, and you schedule to get out there as quickly as you can because you want to get that deal first. When you get a land deal come through, it's a complete opposite. The first thing you do is you've got a significant amount of computer research that you need to do before you even waste your time to go out on site. There's so many red flags that come up on the computer that you can't even see when you walk the site that may preclude that from even being a deal. And so you want to sort those out as soon as possible. So before I'm going to leave the office and drive 45 minutes to walk a piece of property, I want to make sure that it at least is something that can be developable. And so today I'm going to underwrite a deal that came through to me. I'm going to evaluate it. And it was a friend of mine, had two pieces of property in an infill setting, so in Durham, in the city, and there are two pieces of property right next to each other, so it'll be infill development. And I'm going to look at it and I'm going to let you see what I'm doing as I'm doing the computer research before I even go on site. And then we're going to go on site, meet our friend, the seller, take a look at what the properties are, and we'll see if it's a deal. So I'm always going to start on the GIS, the county or city GIS. So this deal is in Durham, so I'm on the Durham City GIS, and I'm typing in the address, and the GIS is going to show you the map of the county, and it's going to give you all the pertinent information that corresponds to that piece of property. So on this GIS, I've pulled it up, and I've got the PIN number, it's got the address, got the size of the property, it has the zoning district, it's got other important things like, is it in a watershed? Is there in an overlay district? Different things that you can find on this GIS. There's going to be links to the tax record so you can see who the owner is. So if you go on that land evaluation checklist, most of the things that you're going to need to fill out in your evaluation for property info and for property info and zoning, we're going to do from the GIS and from the UDO. So I'm on the GIS and I've got my property located here, and it's these two properties right next to each other. So I'm going to get a survey before I buy this property if I decide to buy it, but I can also use the measuring tool on the GIS to see how big the property really is. Now the GIS tells me how many square foot and what the acreage is, but especially in infill development, your geometry or the dimensions is oftentimes just as important as the square footage. So I've got my measuring tool out to see this piece of property and what the dimensions are. So I'm 53 wide on this one, and it is 133 deep. And then the neighboring property is 47 by 133. Now it's probably going to be within a couple feet of each other, and I'll still have to get a survey done, but this gives me a sense of what size the property is and what I can do here. So the seller of this property has got two existing houses, but my concern is in this neighborhood, most of the houses that haven't had major rehabs done are really in a state of disrepair where they should be knocked down. So right now, I'm going to look at this deal as if I'm going to knock these houses down and see what I could build here. And then we go on site, we'll take a look and see what condition they're really in to see if it's something that we can work with. So I've got the overall dimensions, and right now I'm most concerned with the free road frontage, so I'm just over 100 feet, and how deep the lot is 130. And then I'm going to go to the UDO. So UDO, Unified Development Ordinances, I call them the rules of the game. Every city and county's got a separate UDO where you have the rules of the game, what you can build, the setbacks, the minimum size of the property, what the density can be. And so I'm in the UDO for Durham, and I'm under the article that talks about housing, residential, and my zoning district. Now this is Article 7, but they're different. All the rules are different in every municipality. So right here, I'm looking to see what the setbacks are, if I'm going to build single family homes, or in this case with this infill development, like you're going to see in a lot of infill scenarios, I'm going to be looking to potentially create a greater density. Though I've only got 2 lots, can I put more than 2 units back? And based on the zoning laws in this, I can do 4 attached units in the same area that I used to have 2 homes. So what we would do is on this lot, if we knock both these houses down, each of these lots would be split in 2, and they'd have two attached units where they'd share the center wall, and the property line goes right down the center wall. And then the other lot would have the same. And so in place of the 2 houses, I could have 4. And so when I create a greater density, now I have a greater gross revenue on the back end, and I can potentially pay more for this property on the front end. So you'll have to download this checklist. There's a lot of other things that you're going to need to look into that I'm not going to take the time to do on this video, but we go through site conditions, zoning, utilities, DOT with driveway permits. And so I know that there's water and sewer at this property because there's 2 houses there. But if I was buying an infill lot, then I'd need to contact Public Works to see if there's even water or sewer available. So right now I know there's water and sewer. I've checked the zoning, and so I know what my setbacks are, and I know that if I want to, I can potentially build 4, and then my width and depth of each unit will depend on the geometry. So you run through this checklist, and it helps make sure that you're asking all the right questions when you're buying a piece of property. And I'm going to ask all those questions that I can from the computer before I even go on site. If I was buying an infill lot where there wasn't houses and I didn't know the UDO that well, I'm going to make a phone call or an email to the planning department and ask them specifically, what's the zoning for this property? What are the setbacks in the zoning district? Are there any impervious surface limitations that will limit what I can develop on this property? It's amazing how many deals that I evaluate on the computer that I never drive out to the site to see. It doesn't matter at what location it is, how great of an area it is. If it doesn't pass the computer test, it's not worth driving out to. You may find a stream in the middle of a property that you can't see by walking through that's only available on the GIS that completely kills your buildable area. So no matter what kind of pressure the wholesaler's putting on you, if you think the deal's gonna walk away, you gotta do your research, you gotta do your evaluation the right way, the thorough way, and don't be pressured and bullied around by wholesalers who are used to selling your flipper houses where you walk it, you get a deal. Most of your wholesalers and even real estate agents are not aware of all the steps that it takes to underwrite one of these deals. And if the deal walks away, let someone buy a bad deal. You don't want to make the mistake of buying a deal that you thought looked great because of where it was in town, only to find out that you couldn't build there. Or you find out that there wasn't water and sewer available even though the neighbor had it. So now that I've finished looking at everything that I need to on the computer, let's go check this deal out. All right, we just walked the properties with our good friend, Warren. And first one, it's obviously a knockdown, just like he said. He said there had been fire damage before, and if you can just look at the outside, it's in disrepair. You're gonna take too much money to make it right to do anything with. So clearly the strategy on the first property is to knock it down and build something new. The second property sits right on that edge of whether it should be a knockdown or not. It's got a brand new roof on it. Doesn't seem to be in major disrepair. The real problem of this property is it is so outdated. The kitchen looks like it's probably from the 1930s or 40s. The bathroom about the same. It's got a very low crawl space and it's moist in there. And so by the time we bring that up to 2025 standard, likely the amount of money that it will take to get that right won't be worth doing it. So probably the play here is going to be to knock both of them down and either build 2 single family homes or do some density and some attached and townhomes there. But we'll run the numbers and see which one works. So that's what a typical infill deal looks like when we evaluate it. Stick around, follow us to see if we decide to buy this property and what we build there. I got another video that you might be interested in. If you're a fix and flipper and you're a rehabber and you're thinking that this new construction game might be for you, then this video that we just created, I think will speak to some of the pain points that you have and tell you why we made the transition from being fix and flippers to new construction builders.